I do want to respect everyone's time. I know that we try to plan these around our lunch break, and not everybody has all day to do that. So I want to go through just a few announcements before we get started, and then I'll get our speaker introduced, and we'll hand it over to Senator Turner. First, I want to inform you all that we have some new members of the chamber. I want to make sure we spotlight new folks that have joined up as members. Sports Cafe and Catering, Henson Florists and Belinda Bells, and Eastern Broadcasting have all joined up as members of the chamber. So we want to give them a warm welcome. And if you see any folks involved in those businesses or organizations, be sure and thank them for joining our local Chamber of Commerce and supporting local businesses in Harlan County. I also want to let you all know that Sustainable Business Ventures, it's a nonprofit group that operates in Kentucky. They're offering a free online fundraising boot camp for entrepreneurs and small business owners. We sent out an email a few days ago with information on this. And Bobby Clark, who is over this group, he has spoke at the chamber before, but they're doing this program to help business owners, entrepreneurs learn about how to do some fundraising for their projects and ideas online. And so you can find out more about that on the website at sbventures.org. And again, we sent an email with that information a couple days ago, and we'll probably include it again in the follow-up email from this meeting. I also have a few announcements from Harlan Tourism. Brandon Pennington couldn't be here today, but he sent some announcements. On Friday, March 12th, Harlan Tourism will be partnering with Finish Vertical to do a Shamrock the Night event. This is a nighttime 5K glow run with a performance by Random Rock Radio afterwards. He said the race will take place at 6 p.m. starting at the Harlan Center, and the concert will begin at 7 p.m. A date has also been set for Harlan Chow's Down. It'll be this year on Wednesday, April 7th. That's an event to help support local restaurants. So mark your calendars and save room for seconds. They've also set a date for the Harlan County's Amazing Race this year. It'll be Saturday, April 3rd. And this is like a scavenger hunt race throughout Harlan County, where participants will start with a clue at the Harlan Center and go all throughout the county to find additional clues with challenges along the way. So that's some stuff that's coming up from Harlan Tourism. It's nice to see that some events are on the horizon and things can slowly start to turn back to normal as vaccinations roll out in the community. I also want to let you know one last thing is the Chamber is gearing up to launch a member-to-member benefits program. This is something that a lot of chambers do across the state and the country. It's helped to offer discounts between members of the Chamber of Commerce. We recently renewed an agreement with Air Evac to be able to offer their membership services to Harlan County Chamber members at discounted rates. And so we're going to be reaching out to you all if you're a member of the chamber to see what kind of benefits or services you could offer to other members, so we can encourage people to shop local and encourage additional businesses to join the chamber. So we'll be reaching out in the next few weeks with something like that. But with all that said, that's all the announcements I have. Does anyone else have an announcement they'd like to make for the benefit of the chamber? Hearing none, I'll move in to introduce our guest speaker for the day. Today we're joined by Senator Johnnie L. Turner, who represents the 29th Senate District of Kentucky, comprised of Harlan, Letcher, Knott, and Floyd counties. He is a Harlan County native and graduate of Pine Mountain Grade School, Redbird Mission High School, Union College, and the University of Kentucky College of Law. Senator Turner served in the United States Army as a medic from 1967 to 1969, and he previously served in the Kentucky House of Representatives from 1999 to 2003, where he worked to secure funding to ensure that Harlan County High School could be constructed. Senator Turner has worked as the City of Cumberland's attorney for 12 plus years, the Harlan County Board of Education's attorney for 20 plus years, and he has practiced law in Harlan County for more than 42 years. In his current position in the Kentucky Senate, Turner serves as a member of the Transportation and Judiciary Committees, and he is Vice Chair of the Natural Resources and Energy Committee. He's also a member of the Mountain Caucus. Today, he'll provide us an update from the ongoing 2021 legislative sessions, and we'll have some time for questions at the end. If anyone has questions along the way, feel free to type them in the chat box, and we can ask those at the end, and we'll have some time where you can come off mute. But at this point, Senator Turner, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and all of you for being here today. I'm glad to be here as your senator. The first thing we were told when we came down was that most of the bills that you're going to be considering were bills that were either passed, put on the table last time, because you may remember they cut the Senate and House time. I think they were like 9 or 10 days left, but they left because of the pandemic. And then the first bills, I'm sure you all remember reading in the paper and seeing, were pretty much the 5 bills, the one on the taking care of the birth of children, and those 2 bills involving that area. And then we passed the 3 bills that involved the power of the governor, which many people were complaining about, from the church, shutting down the churches, to just different things. And those bills took about a week to get through. The process is a little more complicated than people understand. You get a bill and you file it, you got to wait so many days, you got to leave time for people to file amendments and that to it, and then it gets either in the House or Senate. It gets assigned to a committee, and once it gets a committee vote, it comes back to the House, but you got to wait days in between. So 5 days is pretty much the fastest you can get a bill to go through both sides, and that's with both chambers agreeing to do it expeditiously. So we spent the first week or so just doing those bills. There's been a number of medical bills, different types of bills that's come to the floor. You all saw, if you keep up with any of this, the issue of the pari-mutuel betting thing, with not so much the Harlan chamber, but the chamber throughout the state are affected by it somewhat because of the flow of income and job opportunities down the chain from the horse industry. And if you watched any of that, you had people, some legislators even, that are in farming, or one of them I think has food processing and sales for farming products. So it has a number of issues for the working, and which the chamber is involved in, and they were supporting that. That passed yesterday with a 22 to 15 in the Senate. It's presently before the House. I've been told there's probably one thing that they may have added. It's you all may not understand this as well, and I didn't either till we got into the legislative side of it. It's that where they have those betting on the racehorsing, the races, and that 90% of the money goes back to the bettors, though, and then it takes in about $65 million a year for state budget, and the general budget, the general fund gets about $35 million of that. Some of the rest of it is going back into the horse industry, such as studying of the diseases and just things that are good for that. But when it was passed yesterday, there was a question about the tax. It's taxed at 1.5% to get that 65 million. And I think I heard there's a bill over the House side of the bill is going to have a increase in that tax, and it may go to the general fund. I don't know yet. I just haven't seen that. But it was a tough, hard thing. But the crux of it, if you didn't hear, it was they've had those machines for 10 years at these 6 or 7 different sites where there's horse racing. Now, part of the plan is to put a I don't know, it's going to be like the Red Mile, I think, more than that line down in Whitley County somewhere for horse racing down there next to the Tennessee line. Because they're trying to stay next where the neighbors can come across from the states, other states, or maybe you want to go to Eastern Kentucky. I don't not heard that, but it's not in the talks like the other one. But that bill was tough to get through because there was the issue of whether or not it was just so hard, creating a hardship on the poor who were spending their money there. Well, they're just in big cities mostly. They're not. They got them in 2 in Lexington and other places, Turfland Park, and then out in Louisville. And so there was some disagreement with that. But the argument, biggest thing was that the Supreme Court, the main issue was, and that's what I stood up and spoke yesterday and said, the reason I was for it, I'm against gambling. I don't even buy the pull-off tickets or the any of it. I don't even take the lottery because I'm just not in the gambling and don't believe in it. But this issue was sent back to the Senate and the House by direction of the Supreme Court by statute, said by statute, define what that is under statute. And so the definition was basically with this bill said that we, the Senate and the House, are going to determine that that is that type of, that fits that statutory framework, which is legal under the Constitution. Some people said, no, it's a constitutional issue. But anyway, it passed the Senate yesterday, and I think it's going to pass the House, maybe with some amendment. The other big one that's close at home for the all businesses is this Senate Bill 5, and you all might want to read it. I don't know if you've heard of it or what. And I think it's coming up sometime. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, but it's one that's, I haven't seen I heard there's an amended bill coming out. I have the original here in my hand, but it's the one that's supposed to, just putting in simple terms, is directed to protect the business world from litigation involving COVID. And I don't know if you all have heard that about it, but that's what that is. And it's a lengthy bill. It's not to affect the right of persons to get benefits under 342, which is workers' comp benefits. And that's to go where you have a police officer who gets COVID for his duties, a nurse or whoever, some employee that's having to do their job and catches COVID and has medical impact from that, where they could get their medical bills paid and loss of work under the workers' comp law. But it's an extensive bill, and I've heard that it's got, as it was originally written, I had some real questions about it, but I haven't seen like I said, the revised version of it. But that's one that you all may want to look at because it is sponsored by the state Chamber of Commerce. I mean, they're trying to help push that one forward. And they were really behind the others. We called it the horse bill, HHR, which passed yesterday. That's the 2 biggest bills that I can find or remember, other than those that you all have seen, were the 4 or 5 at the beginning that reins in on the government's ability to shut businesses down, shut schools down. The one bill says that schools can open and will open under the policy set forth by the lower of the 2, that being the state's determination of what conditions, this applies to businesses also, that you can operate under the federal guidelines or the state, whichever is less. So the government can't shut down all the businesses, can't keep you from going to Tennessee and coming back across the state line. I mean, all those things you read in the paper. The bill's very extensive, and if you all want further explanation of it, after you've looked at them, and so you need some legal determination or have questions about it from the legal side, I'll be more glad to do that even when I'm locally there after the session's out, and if that should occur. But those are the 2 main bills that affect the Chamber of Commerce this period. I don't remember any that's in the paperwork that's coming down the chain between the end of the session. But those are the two that, one of them's passed partially, as I said, the one we did yesterday, and this one here is coming up, I don't know, today or tomorrow, and it's sponsored by Senator Sivers, who's the president of the Senate. Other bills are from medical things to just a variety of things. Some of them are, today they did another one that we got out of the Senate committee today. I'm on it. Natural Resources is Senator Wheeler from Pike County introduced a bill. Basically, it says that people who dump garbage, I'm putting in plain language, that the county will be the one that gets the fine, and they can set the fine minimum of $250 up to $500. And that's designed to prevent, there's some already question, but some other people about, well, some city, some little government agency from a small city may want to set it just $100. But I think under the previous law they can, but this one is designed specifically, more specific for our area. So if the people are dumping garbage, throw a bag of garbage out, or more than one bag or whatever, that they can be fined up to $500. Instead of the state getting the money or the court system, it goes to the county to be used for purposes of cleaning up the county. Now, how far that's going to go in the system, it might get amended because of this, that minimum $250. I know one of the legislators spoke to Mr. Wheeler earlier when he and I were walking back from lunch about that. So that's still, as they go up to work through the system, they can get amended from the committee on the floor, and then when it goes to the House, they can amend it over there and send it back, and then you got to do a joint conference to agree, both of you agree to the whatever the conference mediates it out and agree, then it's sent back to both sides to approve. So that's the process. That's another one that's will affect us in the mountains somewhat, to give us a little more oomph to keep our county clean from garbage being thrown out. Those are the three that I feel like are important to the chamber at this time. Any questions?
What about this year? I guess where last year they only passed a one-year budget, they'll be bringing up another budget for the next fiscal year. Can you share with us some things that are going to be included in the budget?
That's an excellent question. They are. They told us even in the initiation process, and the first time we met before I was actually sworn in, we had a meeting with the political body, all the senators. You meet separately. The Republicans meet together, and then the Democrats meet together. But all the Republicans, which there's 30 of us now, that gave, when I got elected, that gave the majority where you could override the governor's vetoes without asking any Democrats to join in the Senate. And that's the same true in the House. They got 75 Republicans in the House. But they told us that the bills that would be going through on the budget thing would be those that, were put in there last time. And the real question, as you know, would come up, well, what about the road funds? Are they going to stay? And they said, yes, definitely the one, and the one that's the 421 one is, there's a big one over in, I think it's not Floyd, a connector road over there was a major one. Representative in that district is a Democrat. She come talk to me, and I told her that we were going to keep all those in, because that was one of the assurances that I wanted the public to know when I got elected, that I would keep all those in and try to add some. And there are some little ones that I've talked to every county judge, and Mr. Mosley and all the county judges and the mayor, they've got some little things that I'm trying to help, that kind of urgent type stuff. And with the small monies, not big dollars, got those. I don't know whether those will get worked through or not, because every senator's got something urgent for his district or hers. But we'll see. It's just according to the budget. We're blessed that it didn't have a big shortfall from last term, that they were predicting that they thought it'd be, I don't know, 15 million short, but it wasn't. They put some of those funds in the rainy day fund, which is good. So I'm hoping that we'll have all the budget from before plus some additional things that judges have told me that, and it's been things like water, things like that. I went over to the not Curry County line the other day where a project got started over there on a water line that's been really needed for that area. And Senator Smith and Representative Fugits was there, and I was there on behalf of Knott County because it was their one is going to really receive a significant benefit from it, hooking into the water there and going into a section of Knott County that's really short on water. So that's the things I was looking towards doing. And then I've got one other thing I'm working on, but I can't disclose that you all will get a kick out of, I guess, or really like. But I promise to keep my voice in my head about it till I get some more concrete evidence that it might work. And so we're working on another project that was brought to my attention that in there in Harlan County that will be a good thing to get done if we can. Everybody will be liking it to be done. So
Good deal.
It's not bull to be in or nothing, but it's a few $1 million project. So
I've had some questions brought up about the state of Kentucky's unemployment insurance. I guess the state had to take out a loan last year to help cover payments. Is there anything in the budget that might address payment on this unemployment insurance loan, or will businesses be expected to see increases in their payments to unemployment insurance?
Well, that's a good question. First of all, I'll tell you is that there was, you saw it, if you haven't seen it, we made the governor's office come forward with it sometime in January. There was 137,000 people that had never got the unemployment benefits they were entitled to. And I've had people in Harlan County, one of the deputies' wives has been done wrong. I mean, it's just, some people have applied in March last year and still haven't got benefits. And some of the problem, what we were told was that from the perspective of the legislators, is when the governor hired that group out of New York to run it, that's when it went haywire. We had, I think it was it's in the Election Herald, but 400,000 emails were found that were involved calling that phone number they tell you to call, we'll help you with your unemployment, have never even been opened or read. 400,000 Kentucky emails. So it's been a tragedy of why it went that way, but it's behind us. All we're trying to do is figure out legislatively ways to change it. Now, as it relates to that loan, I've been told, or just through the grapevine and heard stuff, and haven't made no real legislative or legal inquiry, that they're going to try to use some of the federal funds to help pay them loans off if possible, so that it don't put a great burden, because the chamber businesses are struggling as it is, and some of them, many of them folded and all that. So it's it's hurt the legal. All the lawyers are in Harlan County, everywhere are suffering just like everybody else, because you're not having all the legal, from houses to being sold, the wills, the deeds, and just all the things that you worked on every day. People are confined to homes and all that kind of stuff. So it's hurting all over the state. It's not big stores, it's hurting, or big business, it's hurting small, and it's terrible. So that's the information I have on that issue at this time. They're working on trying to get everybody caught back up to make sure their unemployment benefits are coming. But we as legislators can't do anything except legislate, and that's, I'm sure down the chain, there'll be some legislation on that. They're changing some of the issues and taking you remember you read the Lexington Herald, there was an article in there, I think maybe it's just recent, maybe in a day or two. The people that were over the unemployment situation resigned and took different government jobs right at the most critical time in the system. And that, they're saying, was the biggest problem, because new people came in, and whether that was all political related or what, the justification to hire that Ernst and whatever that group is out of New York to come in here and charge for whatever multi-millions or close to $1 billion, whatever it was, to run that program and then screw it up. I don't know. They said, you know, you hear that they were the people that donated all the money to the certain party in Kentucky this last time. And so that's the way to, I don't know none of that. Okay. All I know is it's been a screw up that we shouldn't have had. They blaming some of it on the prior governor for shutting some of the office down, but it's been just terrible. And we as legislators are looking into it to try to help speed up the system to get it working for the poor people. But it's just been tragic.
One other question I had was, people talked about changes to Kentucky's motor fuels taxes in the past. You know, we've got more electric cars on the road now than ever before. Can we expect to see any changes to that in the future?
I'm going to assume that you will see a bill introduced, probably not this session, but it may be, that will put a tax on electric vehicles. They're going to be running on the road, wearing the roads out just like gasolines do. So yes, there'll have to be, and that's going to be probably I don't think that'll even be a fight. Being we're a coal producing state now, you might get some from the city legislators, but their roads are bad too. So I'm assuming, I've heard that discussed just, you know, in the chit chat talk between legislators, that's got to come. And I'm on the committee. I'm in that natural resources, transportation committees that probably will come through. And so I'm sure that will be in the paperwork. We're having so much trying to get this pandemic stuff through this time, and it's connected and affected, just like I told you, this big bill of Senate Bill 5. You should print that out, and so you can talk to your chamber groups to see if there's some, and it's a loaded bill, okay, of protection for the chamber for businesses. But yeah, that'll be an issue that'll come up sooner rather than later. Especially with General Motors saying they're going to build all them electric vehicles. Cadillac's going to go electric. I mean, I don't think they'll sell many of them, but you know, we ain't going to have. See, the problem with it, it looks good in the city, but who's going to produce electricity? Gas don't produce the electricity because it don't generate enough heat like coal did. I mean, we're just doing things in reverse. Instead of building clean towers and running the coal system, but build electrical things up so that they could produce enough electricity. Because when everybody plugs their cars up into an electric spot, they're going to be shutting your power down at your home if too many of them plug up. I mean, that's not in the planning stages, I see, but it's going to have to be. And so that tax will get thrown in there pretty quick, I believe. Justifiably.
Good deal. That's all the questions I have. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask Senator Turner before we wrap up? Feel free to come off mute, Paul.
Yes, sir. And I certainly appreciate your time today, Senator Turner, and everyone that's tuning in. This is super informative. And although I'm not in love with Zoom meetings, this worked out perfectly for me today from a time perspective and a distance perspective. Senator Turner, one of the things that I'd just like you to keep your eye on, sir, if you don't mind, we've got Highway 160, better known in the parts up here as the road on Black Mountain going through Lynch. And it's my understanding they've gotten right at $500,000 in federal highway funds to shore up several of the slip areas that are taking place there. One thing that I feel is imperative, and I'm not taking away from 421 or 119, those are both very important roads, but from a tourism standpoint, and of course this is in my district, if there's any way that you can, there's some monies there, but my understanding is there may not be enough money from that federal allotment to complete, and by that I mean finish a complete asphalt or complete resurfacing of that road. That is something from a tourism perspective that countywide I think is going to be hugely important going forward. So if that's something you can just keep your eye on, and I'll try to keep you updated progress wise while you're up there with what's going on with it as well, sir. But that's something that's just super important, not only from tourism, but just residents. We have so many residents that work over there in the border in Virginia and cross that mountain every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I'll do that. I've got the budget, the last year's budget on the roads laying over here on I got it. I haven't went through, I was looking through Floyd counties first. I will look into that. I'm going to have a meeting with the transportation director. I don't know where it will be during the session or after the session, but I've got a scheduled meeting. He's going to schedule a time when I'm going to be in Harlan so I can talk to him about some of the roads there, and I'll make sure I bring up Road 160. I'm very familiar with that road, and I take people up on it. My wife's family came from the country of Panama, and I drove them up on that just to show them this big tall mountain that we have here in eastern Kentucky. So anybody that comes from out of the woodwork to Harlan that hasn't been in Harlan, I don't just take them up to show them the mine portal and all the other things. I take them up on Black Mountain just to show them that we've got a scenic view, a beautiful sight. And I agree with you, that road needs to be kept in good shape.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate that.
Any other questions? Well, hearing none, I do want to thank you, Senator Turner, for taking some time to speak with our members of the chamber. We have recorded this meeting and we'll be sending it out to the members via email in case anyone was able to miss it. But we do want to thank you for your time and for serving the people of Harlan County. We greatly appreciate you.
I thank all of you all. You all are like family to me since I'm a Harlan County native. And so I feel free to just openly talk to you like we were just sitting around and having coffee. And that's what I try to do today, and expect you all to treat me the same. I'll do the best I can to respond and look into these things. But I want to really make you all aware of that Senate bill so that you can, any business can look at it, and it's very protective. It may get modified, like I said, but it's there.
All right. Well, thank you again, and we appreciate your time today. And we'll wrap up here. Be on the lookout for emails for next month's chamber meeting, and we'll be trying it again via Zoom next month.
Okay. Well, I'll be here. I don't know the dates you do it, and then next month is kind of, we got some scheduled days. Then we're sitting there the days where they can call us in. So I just don't know the days I'll be in and out all next week like I did this time. So, all right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. But everyone have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.